So I'm about to hollow out a sculpture that has a lot of weak pressure points. Talking specifically here about the front legs or paws that the sculpture is resting on. Usually I would just do a single cut along a sculpture and then start hollowing it out. But because just a little bit too much pressure could cause the legs to break, I decided to build it up with all these little ledges and give the piece as much as support as I could, but then in order to not have to like push inwards or outwards on the sculpture, I also decided to open it up in several different points and hollow it out from there. Opening up a sculpture in several different points is pretty common when we're talking about larger sculptures, maybe not so much with something this small, but I just felt that the safest way to do this was to open it first along the back, and then as you can see here, I'm opening it from the head and sort of scooping up the inside of the head. I started with scooping up all the clay. I then took a needle tool and scored it on all the sides that are meeting, both the side of the head and the side of the chest, as you see here. And then I add some slip, which is a mix of clay and water. I really don't know because I am going to go a little bit crazy with this and raku this. And for those of you who don't know, in raku, the temperature changes from very hot to very cold quickly, and this puts a lot of stress. It's like imagine glass breaking from going from really hot to cold, and it's the same with the clay. This sculpture is again particularly vulnerable because it has its legs, but first we gotta make sure it survives the drying process and then the bisque fire. So I'm gonna worry about that later. But here it is as it looks now with all its support, and I am going to fire it in bisque with all these little ledges, and then in raku we're gonna remove all the stuff and just put it in as in. So that's how I do it. A little reminder that building something that has like a little hill or something like a podium for your sculpture to stand on is always going to be like more safer and give more structural support than just doing freestanding legs, which is really, really hard, especially when it is a cyber body type. But I think everything you actually want to make, you can do. Sometimes I feel like a lot of people learn like you can't do this and you can't do this. Well, everything can be done. You're just gonna have a lot more fails and a lot more cracking if you do it a certain way. But that doesn't mean what you want to do is impossible, and sometimes it's worth the risk.